Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Do I ask now?
It's funny, because like 4 years ago, or I guess maybe 6 years ago, when I really started taking like music seriously, like not when I used to mess around and it was whatever, and then I started to really seriously feel like I could probably make songs. From that time, I always had this idea that I wanted to make a trilogy of albums. The idea was I just wanted to put together 3 bodies of work that all flowed together. Even if they weren't the same thing genre-wise or the same thing lyrically or whatever, they all kind of fit together. And I had written about 60 songs in the last 4 years that were supposed to be this trilogy. And I had a track list, I had the order, I had everything. I just hadn't finished recording them, I hadn't done the vocals. But I'd written them out, I'd done all the lyrics and everything. And in the last year, I kind of took a step back from everything and said, is this really what I want to say? Is all this stuff still relevant to me? And I kind of came back to all these things. I had some time. I was like, I'm going to finally finish this album. And I just kind of went through the songs, and I was like, I like these. And they were what I wanted to say at the time. And they felt like relevant to me then, but it wasn't me now. And it didn't speak to what I was experiencing now. And I had these 60 songs that were okay, but also weren't my best work technically, production-wise. And I'd grown so much since I wrote them. And I had to make a really tough decision where I was like, I'm going to throw all these songs out and start from scratch. I still have them. I didn't actually literally get rid of them, but I just said, I'm not going to put these out in the world. I'm going to treat them as practice. And they were all, each song of those 60 that I wrote taught me something that I brought into making the 10 songs on this album. And that makes me really proud of these 10 songs particularly. What's funny is this all started with the Summer Sessions EP that I put out previously. And literally in July, I woke up from a dream one night, and in my dream, I had a dream where I released an EP called The Summer Sessions, and on it was 4 songs called Swimming Pool, Hot Dog, Slushy, and Watermelon. And it was like, in my dream, it was like somehow I named these things after like things that reminded me of summer. And I literally woke up that day, and I know people throw on the term literally a lot when they don't actually mean literally. Literally, I got out of bed, sat at my desk, sat at the computer, and made the song in like 3 hours that ended up being Sunshine, which is the first track of the Summer Sessions and the first track of this album. And I put out these pieces of work, and like what was crazy is like I didn't think about it. I didn't overthink it. I didn't overanalyze. I was like, I'm going to put out this EP in 4 weeks. Every week I'm going to drop the next song and the next video. And I didn't have time to like question it. I didn't have time to second guess like the melody or what the hook was or if that was catchy. And I had to just produce and make, and that was the best, and that kind of feels like the theme of this album in a sense. And then when I finished it, because I like things in sequence, I was like, cool, I have the Summer Sessions now, maybe I should make the Winter Sessions. And so I started making 4 songs called Nightfall, Frozen Over, Between the Sounds, and Avalanche, which were the Winter Sessions. They're supposed to sequentially come after, and the same way that the Summer Sessions were very poppy and warm, this was supposed to deal with kind of more introspective themes, more intimate themes. And I was going to release those as 2 EPs, and then I thought, why don't I just package these into an album, add 2 more songs, round it out at a nice even 10, and put it out into the world. So that's kind of like that's the story of how I got here. That was really long. Why is it called Seasons? I called it Seasons because that was like literally just whatever, like I just needed a name to call it while I was working on it. It was kind of like a working title. And I love that it ended up sticking in a strange way, because it's like I said, that's sort of the theme of this album, is like not thinking too hard about stuff and just making what feels right and not giving myself time to second guess or overanalyze it. It's just like this thing that I just said, and I remember talking to people and going like, here's the working title, like I'm sure I'll come up with something better later. And just nothing felt better than that. It felt simple, and it was like, why overthink that? Like why second guess that? Why not just go with what feels right? So, and I felt like it was just the perfect thing to describe. Your first 4 songs are summer. Song 5 is fall, transitionary. Songs 6 through 9 are winter and deeper and more introspective and intimate. And the last song is spring, and we end on a uplifting note. What is my favorite song and why?
Or which one are you most proud of, I guess?
That's tough because they're all my children.
There's always a favorite, though.
Yeah, so it's hard to pick. It's hard to pick a favorite, but if I had to single one of them out, I think Between the Sounds to me, I don't know, something about that song hits me in the heart in that it's every piece of it is exactly what I wanted. And I think a lot of the other songs I can listen to and be like, probably months from now I'll be like, oh man, I maybe I should add that or maybe should have tweaked that thing. But Between the Sounds is like the one song that, in the 7 to 8 months it's taken me to make this album, every time I've gone back to it and listened to it after it was finished, I've never had like a note of like I wanted to do this differently or that. It just felt like exactly what I wanted it to be, and it feels like the most like pop music friendly, like the most radio friendly. But I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in like this is like I think the most widely accessible song on the album. What's next? I've always wanted to kind of put together a initial discography that was a resume of sorts. It's showing off what I can do musically to show people that I am more than just one genre and one style. Because ultimately I want to be a producer, and I think it's important to show like diversity and of skill and diversity of genre. So this album I consider like my pop album. The next album is going to be my hip hop album, and the final album will be an electronic sort of EDM dance album. The hope is that once they're all three out there, anyone can go to my catalog, whether it's on Spotify or iTunes or wherever they're discovering me, and they can get a full feeling of my diversity as an artist, and that I'm not just chained to one genre, I'm not just chained to one style. I love so many different types of music, and all those influences are scattered throughout this trilogy of work. So that's what's coming next.